Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. So we are discussing basically the three-phase voltage generation and the type of field it generates when three-phase current flows through three-phase winding. So basically, we have seen that for rotating machine, we can have any four of these arrangement. That is, either we can place the field on the rotor and armature on the stator, or we can have the field on the rotor and armature on the stator. And then again, the rotor can be either cylindrical type or salient pole type. And for when we are placing the field on the rotor, field on the stator, there also we can either have salient pole or cylindrical rotor construction. Now, whatever be the, this was the basic figure, first one. Now, whatever be the arrangement, the voltage is generated in the armature winding basically due to the relative motion between the field flux and the armature conductor. It is immaterial whether we are moving the armature conductor or the field conductor. So we can have a fixed armature and we can rotate the field, then the flux linkage of armature will change and voltage EMF is induced. Similarly, we can have fixed field and we can rotate the armature. Then also the flux cutting changes with time, so EMF is induced. There are certain mechanical and electrical reasons why, in case of synchronous machine, we follow these two construction. That is, we always have the armature on the stator and field on the rotor. It has got certain advantages, and the rotor can be either cylindrical rotor or salient pole type depending on the speed of the prime mover. For the DC machine, we follow this construction because in this case armature is connected to commutator and brush assembly with which acts as a mechanical rectifier and rectifies the AC EMF which is induced, because in all cases the EMF which is induced is alternating in nature. So these things will be discussed in details during the synchronous machine classes. Now, what was the magnitude? Now, the flux linkage is defined as number of turns into the flux. Now, as the car the flux is changing with the angular position theta r, and we have seen that when the coil axis, this is the armature coil axis and field axis are coincident, that is when this angle is 0, then flux linkage is maximum. And when this field axis and this coil axis are perpendicular, then flux linkage is 0. So it is a cosine wave. It can be considered as a cosine wave. Obviously, it will not be a perfectly sinusoid. There will be harmonics. Neglecting the higher order harmonics, it can be considered as a cosine wave. So the flux linkage is n phi m cos theta r. But theta r is omega r t. Omega r is the rotational speed. So if we differentiate with respect to t, then we get basically two expressions. The first one is proportional to the speed. It is the dynamically induced EMF or the rotational EMF. And the second one is proportional to rate of change of flux. This is the transformer EMF. Now, in this particular case of rotating machines, what we are discussing, we have flux constant because we have a DC supply for the field. So this portion is 0. We can have also transformer EMF also if our excitation was alternating in nature. So our EMF expression is this. So this gives us the maximum value is twice pi f n nm, where f is the frequency. It is that is omega is equal to twice pi f, considering a two-pole machine. If we have another number of poles, then there is a particular relation between the rotational, the frequency and the rotational speed, depending on the number of poles. Now, what is that relationship? We have found that for if we have a two-pole construction, then as the armature winding moves through 180 degree, then this electrical wave will move through also 180 degree. That is, this conductor, it is near the north pole. Once it moves through 180 degree, it will come to the south pole. So there will be a 180 degree movement for the electrical wave also, as the conductor moves through 180 degree. But if it is a four-pole machine, as this conductor moves through 90 degree, there will be a movement of 180 degree for the electrical wave. So for the four-pole machine, if we define two angles, the electrical angle and the mechanical angle. So for two-pole machine, electrical angle and mechanical angle are equal. For four-pole machine, electrical angle is 4/2 mechanical angle. So in general, electrical angle theta electrical is p/2 theta mechanical. So if we differentiate d theta dt of d electrical and is equal to p/2 d theta mechanical dt. Now d theta mechanical dt is the rotational speed omega r, and this d theta electrical dt is omega, the speed of alternation of the electrical wave. So f is equal to p/2 n. So f has a particular relationship with number of poles and the speed. Now this speed, as we want the frequency to be constant, so for a constant frequency, this speed is fixed for particular number of poles. So this is called the synchronous speed. So you can calculate for 50 hertz supply. For two-pole machine, it will be 3000 RPM. For four-pole, 1500 RPM, and so on. As the speed decreases, number of poles should increase to have the same frequency. Now, next is that in practice, AC voltage is generated for we utilize three-phase machines. Now, instead of one winding, that is A dashed, if we have three windings which are placed 120 degree apart, three-phase EMF induced in. Now, this number of phases, not necessarily it should be three. We can have any number of phases, but the angle between the windings also changes as the number of phase changes. That is, if we have a four-pole, four-phase machine, then this angle between mechanical shift between the angle should be 90 degree. So so what happens that say for if we have a whether we have a cylindrical rotor or salient pole rotor in material, when we have three windings placed at 120 degree apart, we will have voltages induced in them which are also 120 degree apart, because they are linking some different amount of flux depending on their position. So EMF which are induced EMF wave, the waves will look like this. These waves are 120 degree shifted. This winding now this actually I have shown concentric winding in these 6 slots, but that is that is not practicable because we have to accommodate the conductors, and if we want to have accommodate all the conductors in one slot, that will be very big, and we are not utilizing the iron periphery, and Also the mechanically it is not possible to make that winding. So these conductors are distributed over the total armature periphery. In armature we will have slots, and in the slots the winding is distributed. So how can we make the winding? Say, to simplify the case, we have got 12 slots on the stator. So we have 12 conductors. So we can make one winding with this 1, 2, 7 and 8. Then another with 3, 4, 9 and 10. Another with this 5, 6, 11 and 12. So we will have 3 windings, 3-phase windings. Now what are the EMF output of these particular windings? Now if we look at this particular figure, now these coils, that conductors, that is 1 and 2, are having maximum EMF. This is say maximum positive, maximum negative, but magnitude are same. We have considered now same number of turns. But what happens to all the other conductors? They will also have some EMFs, but depending on their flux linkages. Now, if this angle between this slot angle, slot pitch angle is say gamma, say, so this flux linking of this conductor will be cosine component. So this is a flux phi. So along this axis, this will be phi cos gamma. So this will have, if the magnitude, this is E1 magnitude is say equal to E. So for E2, it will be E cos of gamma for this particular figure, and so on, depending on the angle. So if we we can represent this EMF by these EMF phasors, so that for the instantaneous value of the EMF induced in that particular conductor will be given by the projection of this EMF along the field axis for that particular instant. Say for this particular instant, this is the field axis. So EMF in E2 will be E2 cos of gamma for ET, E3 cos of twice gamma, and so on. Now as the field moves, when the field axis is coincident with this, we know these two conductors will have maximum EMF. So similarly, E2 will be projection of this along the field axis, that is E2. And so always the projection of this EMF phasor along the field axis gives the value of the EMF at that in the conductor for that particular instant. Now from the figure, as we have all these slots are placed at equal intervals, so these angles are same and they have got same number of turns. So the EMF values, these EMF values magnitude are equal, these angles are equal to, so summation of these, all these are 0. You can see that summation is 0. So if we draw the, if we try, as the summation is 0, so if we draw the EMF from tip of that is if we draw E1, then from tip of this E2 and so on, so it will make a closed polygon because the summation is 0. And we know for this closed polygon, all these corners will lie on a circle. So when we are making the winding, say we are making the coil with conductor 1 and 7, 1 and 2 and 7 and 8. And for conductor 1 and 7, EMFs are 120-degree opposing. But if we trace this coil, then they are basically added up. So summation will be E1 plus E7. For E2 and E8, summation will be E2 and E2 plus E8. But this E1 and E7 plus E7 and E2 plus E8, they are gamma degree apart. So summation of these 4 EMF, that is between A and B, that will be a phasor sum, no longer arithmetic sum. So if we add, we have found that, and we defined the distribution factor as the phasor sum of the coil EMFs divided by the arithmetic sum of the coil EMFs, and it was found to be sine q gamma by 2 divided by q sine gamma by 2, where q is the number of slots per pole per phase, the gamma is the angle, this can be approximately written as sine sigma by 2 by sigma by 2, where sigma is the phase spread. Now this is the KT1, that is distribution factor for the fundamental, because I have considered the fundamental wave here. From here you can see that here we have got the fundamental wave and the third harmonic. So 180 degree for the fundamental is 3 into 180 degree for the third harmonic. So the distribution factor for the nth harmonic will be sine q n gamma by 2 divided by q sine n gamma by 2. What is the advantage of distribution factor? Distributing the winding. One thing you can see that the output of the concentric winding is greater than the output of the distributed winding. So when we distribute the winding, the output voltage magnitude will slightly decrease. This factor is almost equal to 1 for the fundamental, but it will decrease. So, but why do we do distribution? The advantage is that it will reduce the harmonics, because this distribution factor for the higher harmonics is smaller. As the harmonic order increases, distribution factor it becomes smaller. So the EMF induced for the higher harmonics is multiplied by the smaller factor. So percentage of harmonic in the EMF wave decreases. It becomes more or less sinusoidal. Then better utilization of armature iron and copper, and adding rigidity and mechanical strength to the winding. So basically that concentric winding is not a feasible option. So this distributing the winding gives us these advantages. Next is that I have shown a winding, a full pitch winding, that is two sides are 180 degree apart. If this is at peak flux, this is also at peak flux. But if we, instead of 6, if we consider 1, 2, 6 and 7, then this conductor is not 180 degree apart, less than 180. One slot pitch before that, 180 minus gamma. So the output between conductor 1 and 7, which was E1 plus E7, no longer the output between conductor 1 and 6, we cannot write is at E1 plus E6, because this will be again a phasor sum. And if and we found out that this is basically, we defined the pitch factor, which is the resultant voltage of short pitch coil divided by the resultant voltage of full pitch coil, and it is defined as cos epsilon. It is magnitude is cos epsilon by 2, where epsilon is the short pitching angle. Now this epsilon can be a multiple of gamma. Here, particular case we have considered short pitching by 1 slot pitch. So epsilon is equal to gamma. It might be suitable multiple of gamma. So advantage of short pitching is that reduces the copper overhang, that is the connecting the coil, that you have the armature and both the sides we have some overhang portion to connect the conductor in the slots, and so when there is it is short pitch, overhang reduces, and also it reduces harmonics by selecting proper short pitch angle. We can reduce harmonics. Say for 30 degree, epsilon equal to 30 degree, Kp and K7, Kp5 and K7 are quite small. Because for 3-phase machine, we are not worried about third and triplet frequency harmonics, that is third, ninth, etc. Obviously, we know there is no even harmonic, the waveform is symmetrical. So we normally stress is given to reduce this 5th and 7th harmonic. So normally we will have distributed short pitch winding. Now next was the, what was the MMF of the coil. Now if we consider the single winding, single concentrated winding. Now, as we have given supply to the field and field is being rotated, the EMF is induced in the armature winding. Now, when the armature coil is carrying current, the load is connected across the armature, then the current flowing through the armature winding itself will create a field. What you know, you have studied this machine, the armature reaction field. So what will be the nature of the field in this particular case? Say for a concentric winding, if this is the flux distribution, so as per the corkscrew rule, we will get the direction. So this armature winding will create field along its axis. Now, we have seen that we do not have, so if we expand, then we will see that approximately between this point and this point, it will be constant. Then at this point, it will change side. So approximately this is a rectangular distribution. Obviously, whether should be exactly rectangular or not, that depends on the design of the air gap. So by Ampere's circuital law, we know integral of HTL is total current enclosed. Now we assume certain thing that as the both the stator and rotor are made up of iron, iron is quite highly permeable. So we consider that the all the MMF is required to establish the flux through the air gap. Now air gap is G, so two air gaps. It is crossing the air gap twice. You can see crossing the air gap twice. Twice G is the length of the flux path. So twice GH is equal to Ni or total current enclosed. So GH is Ni by 2. So this value is Ni by 2. Now this rectangular wave, we can have a fundamental and harmonics. Again, obviously, as it's symmetrical, there is no even harmonic. So we will have fundamental and odd harmonics. So if we find the value from the Fourier analysis, that F1P, the value of the fundamental will be 4 by pi Ni by 2 AT per pole. Now this I is varying. So this value will vary with I. So when I is maximum, this F1P is maximum. So F1P max, F1PM is 4 by pi N root 2 I by 2. 80 per pole for 2-pole machine. Now if it was a 4-pole machine, the air gap will be crossed 4 times. If for the p-pole machine, air gap will be crossed p times. So in general, F1 PM is 4 by pi N root 2 I by P. Now we know that normally we do not have a concentric winding. We have the turns distributed in the slots. So if it is distributed, again similarly we will have a field along its axis, the axis of the distributed coil. Now as this slot pitch angle is very small compared to the other dimension, so it can be considered to be a current density can be considered to be smoothly distributed over this range. Now what is the nature of the field? Now I have shown 3 conductors here and here. So this can be considered as combination of 3 windings. So shifted by gamma degree. So we have rectangular way for 3 windings. In each case, maximum value is half Ni by 2. So summation of these 3 will be a stepped wave like this, where maximum value is 3 by 2 Ni, where N is the number of conductors in each slot. Now, as these angles are very small, this angle will be very small compared to this spread of 180 degrees. So this can be considered as smoothly changing. So this is the equivalent to this second figure, this one. So this is approximately a neglecting the steps, this is approximately a trapezoidal. Again, this can be considered, we can have Fourier analysis, we can have fundamental and some harmonics. So if 1p, it can be shown that this is the fundamental of that wave. So if we derive, this is equal to 4 by pi n phase I by 2. N phase I have considered the total turn in the 3 slots as n phase, that was each slot has n. So 3n here will be n phase, the total. So n phase I by 2 sigma sine n sigma by 2 into n sigma by 2. So this is basically the distribution factor. So 4 by pi kd n phase I by 2. So basically the same expression what we have derived for the concentric winding multiplied by the distribution factor. So similarly, if we have a short pitch coil, it is multiplied by a pitch factor. So F1P is 4 by P, KD, KP, 1 by P, N into I for P pole machine. Maximum value will be 4 by pi KD, KP, 1 by P, N root over 2I, where I is the RMS value. Now, from this expression, this I is basically changing with time. So say this is I1 is equal to I max sine of omega t. Now at omega t is equal to T1. So here now at any instant F1t proportional to number of turns into the current. So this will be at to T1 Fm into sine of omega T1, where Fm is this maximum value. Then at it will be A is equal to Fm sine of omega T2. Fp3 is equal to Fm sine of omega T3. So we can in general say that F is a function alpha and T. So Fm sine of omega T cos alpha. For a particular angle of position alpha with the field axis. So F1 component of Fp1 at that particular value, particular position will be Fp1 cos alpha. So it is Fm sine omega T1 cos alpha at omega T is equal to omega T1. It is Fm sine omega T2 cos alpha at T is equal to T2 and so on. So it is Fm sine omega T cos alpha. So if we see, this is the variation of if with time. So at T is equal to T1, this is the value. If this is the value of, this is the change of current with time. So at T is equal to T1, value of MMF is F1. So the maximum value corresponding to this. So the wave will be this one. For T is equal to T2, the wave will be this one. T is equal to T3, a wave will be this one. So whatever be the time, the nature is sinusoidal, but the maximum value is changing. And where the maximum value is will occur, that is the field axis and the neutral axis, those points are fixed. Maximum to negative maximum. So we have a pulsating field. But this type of field we call a pulsating field, that is the magnetic axis are fixed Magnetic axis and neutral axis are fixed, but the magnitude of the field is varying with time. Next was that what we are much more interested, what is the nature of the field if we have three-phase winding. Now, three-phase winding means we have three windings 120 degrees apart. So three windings are carrying three currents which are also 120 degrees apart, balance system. So say IA is equal to Im sin omega t, IB is equal to Im sin omega t minus 120 degree, IC is equal to Im sin of omega t minus 240 degree. So FA is the magnetic field created by the current carried by phase A winding is proportional to phase A current. So this will be Fm sin of omega t. Fp is proportional to the current carried by the phase B winding. So this will be Fm sin of omega t minus 120 degree, and Fc will be Fm sin of omega t minus 240 degree. The FM magnitudes will be same for the three phases because current magnitudes are same also. They have got the same number of turns and so on. Now what happens? If we look at this fire and what is at any particular instant, what is the direction of this MMFs? Along the axis of the particular coil. So phase A MMF will be along phase A coil, phase B along phase B coil, and phase C along phase C coil. Now for omega t equal to 0, omega t is equal to 0, sin omega t is 0, IB, this is sin of minus 120 degree, this is sin of minus 250. Your FA is 0, FB is minus 0.866 FM, and FC is 0.866 FM. So FA is 0, it is 0, FB is minus. This is a positive reaction, so FB is minus 0.866 FM and FC is plus. So summation of these two, if you take, this will be along this axis, magnitude is 1.5. Now if we go for omega t is equal to 30 degree, your FA is equal to 0.5 FM, FB is equal to, this is 30 minus 120, that is minus 90. So this is FB is equal to minus FM and FC is equal to minus 200 degree, that is 0.5 again. So for A axis it is 0.5 FM, for axis C this is 0.5 FM, and for B axis this is minus FM, so in this direction. Now summation of these two, 0.5 FM, 0.5 FM separated by 120 degrees, so summation that will be 0.5 FM. So plus FM, that resultant will be 1.5 FM, and it has here also resultant was 1.5 FM, but here it has moved 30 degrees. Again, if we consider omega t is equal to 60 degree, FA is equal to 0.866 FM, FB is minus 0.866 FM, and FC is equal to 0. So accordingly, if we put the values, the resultant will be again 1.5 FM, but it has moved through another 30 degree. So 60 degree with respect to first one. So if we take omega t is equal to 90 degree, then FA is equal to FM, FB is equal to minus 0.5 FM, FC is minus 0.5 FM. Again, resultant is 1.5 FM, but it has moved through another 30. So what is the resultant of the field? The resultant is individually the three windings create pulsating field along their axis. But what exists in the air gap is the summation of these three fields. And the nature of that field is the magnitude remains constant, but it is rotating. So it creates a rotating magnetic field. Now this can be expressed in analytically like this also. Say if we consider a point P from the axis of phase A axis. So the component of FA at that point P is FA cos alpha. Component of FB at that point is FB cos alpha minus 120 degree. Component of FC along that point will be FC cos alpha minus 240 degree. So resultant FR alpha T is FAP plus FBP plus FCP, summation of these three components. So if we put FA instead of FA, this is FM sin omega T cos alpha plus FM sin of omega T minus 120 degree cos of alpha minus 120 degree plus FM sin of omega T minus 240 degree cos of alpha minus 240 degree. Now we have sin omega T cos alpha is equal to half sin omega T plus alpha plus sin omega T minus alpha. If we analyze like this with this half FM outside, then this sin omega T cos alpha will be sin omega T plus alpha plus sin omega T minus alpha, half we have taken outside. This expression will be sin omega T minus 120 degree plus alpha minus 120 degree, sin omega T minus 120 degree minus alpha plus 120 degree, sin omega T minus for this one, omega T minus 240 degree plus alpha minus 240 degree and sin omega T minus 240 degree minus alpha plus 240 degree. So this will be sin omega T plus alpha. This is sin omega T minus alpha. This will be sin omega T plus alpha minus 240 degree. This will be sin omega T minus alpha. This will be sin omega T plus alpha minus 480 degree plus sin omega T minus alpha. Now these three, that is this one, and this one, these three phases are 120 degree apart. So summation is 0. So what remains is that 3 by 2 FM sin omega T minus alpha. So from so this is the field what is created. I have drawn the figure anyway. So what we will have a field which has a constant magnitude of 3 by 2 FM, but it is rotating, changing its position with time. Now in FM magnitude is what we have derived earlier, this expression. Now that 4 by pi kW was there, √2 we have bring out here. So in phase I by P. So FR resultant for the three phase rotating magnetic field will be 3 by 2 4 √2 by pi kW in phase I by P. So if you calculate this will be 2.7 kW in phase I by P 80 per pole for three phase machine. Now this we have derived for the three phase machine, and I have drawn the explained with the two pole configuration, because for two pole the electrical angle and mechanical angle are equal, so it is easier to visualize. So in general, if we have a M pole machine, so we will have this 3 by 2 comes for three phase. So for M phase machine, this will be M by 2. So M by 2, this cancel out. So it will be M into 2 √2 by pi kW in phase I by P. So this is the general expression. So we can have any number of phases, but no, all machines are normally designed for three phase. That is because three phase voltage generation, distribution, transmission is most economical. So we have in the analysis we have considered only the fundamental only, but actually there will be some harmonics. So actual wave, what way it will consist of? It will consist of a constant amplitude fundamental mmwave wave rotating at synchronous speed. Then it will have space harmonics of the order that even harmonics are absent for, so there it will have space harmonic of the order 3, 9, 15, etc. That is multiple of 3 triplet frequency harmonics, what we say. These are absent because of virtue of that star delta connection, it is taken care of. Even harmonics are absent, it is a symmetrical wave. Predominant harmonics are fifth harmonic, constant amplitude fifth harmonic wave rotating in a direction opposite to the fundamental. The amplitude of 1/5 times the amplitude of the fundamental at a speed of 1/5 times the speed corresponding to the fundamental frequency omega. Then constant amplitude seventh harmonic wave rotating in the direction of the fundamental with amplitude 1/7 times the amplitude of the fundamental at a speed of 1/7 times that of the speed corresponding to the fundamental frequency omega. So in general, Fnm, n is the order of the harmonic, is 1/n, 2.7 kW. This is 2.7 kW. N phase I/P was the magnitude of the fundamental mmf. That is multiplied by 1/n for nth harmonic. So for a n where n is the, this is not an n phase machine. This expression is for 3-phase machine, so this one is wrong. Where n is the order of the harmonic and kWn is the winding factor for nth harmonic. Now, normally n can be expressed as 6k plus minus 1, where k is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Harmonic of the order of 6k plus 1, if we put 1, k is equal to 1, that is 7th. For 2, it is 13. For 3, it is 19, or so on. Have amplitude equal to 1/6k plus 1 times the fundamental, and rotate in the same direction as the fundamental with a speed equal to 1/6k plus 1 times that of speed of the fundamental. And harmonics of the order of 6k minus 1, if you put k is equal to 1, that is the 5th, 11th, 17th, etc. Amplitude equal to 1/6k minus 1 times the fundamental, and rotate in the opposite direction of the fundamental with a speed of 1/6k minus 1 times that of the fundamental. But however, in our analysis further on, we will mainly consider the fundamental, because the fundamental mmf wave is the wave which creates the driving torque. And for well-designed machine, the harmonic components are very small and normally can be neglected for all practical purposes. It is only required for very detailed analysis. So we will discuss basically depending on the fundamental. Now this was regarding the three-phase voltage generation and rotating magnetic field. Now basically in case of induction motor, what we will have a three-phase distributed winding on the stator. On the rotor, we have slots, and in the slots, we have the rotor winding, and the rotor winding is short-circuited on itself. What is the type of winding we will discuss when we go for the machine construction. But that fundamentally what we have in induction machine, because induction machine is a singly fed machine. When I was talking about voltage generation, we always have a separate field for excitation. Separate field supply we have to give for excitation, whether it is a synchronous machine or a DC machine. But for induction machine, it is a singly fed machine, so only one electric supply is given. We do not give supply to the secondary winding. So in the secondary winding, which is placed on the rotor, will get its EMF in it and the current flowing through it due to induction from the primary winding. So on the primary, which is normally housed in the stator, we have a three-phase distributed winding. And on the rotor, we have a short-circuited winding. Now, what happens when, now, one thing that any electrical machine can be operated both as motor and generator. But for induction machine, we will mainly discuss the induction motor because this is much more in use. Induction generators are also used. It is used in renewable energy, that is in case of wind power generation, it is used, but operation is quite complicated, and that portion will not be covered. We will cover the induction motor portion. So induction motor, we have a three-phase winding on the stator. This three-phase winding is supplied from a three-phase supply. So when it is supplied from a three-phase supply, it will carry a three-phase balanced three-phase current. So balanced three-phase current flowing through the balanced three-phase winding, with we have seen that it will create a rotating magnetic field. So initially assume that this the rotor is at rest. So the stator field is a rotating field, rotating with respect to the rotor conductor at synchronous speed. So the flux cutting the rotor conductor changes. So the rotor conductor flux linkage changes with time. So EMF will be induced in the rotor conductor. And as I have told that the rotor is a short-circuited circuit, it is short-circuited on itself, so current will flow. And as the current flows, this current and the flux interact to produce a torque. Basically, the current flowing through the rotor winding itself creates another field, and these two fields, which is free to rotate, so these two fields will try to lock each other and ultimately run at a speed. Now, what happens? This rotor will start as if consider that the rotating magnetic field is rotating in the clockwise direction. So the rotor will start rotating in the clockwise direction. Okay, that is, rotor will try to catch up with the rotating magnetic field, because as per Lenz's law, we know that always the induced EMF and the current will try to oppose the cause. The cause here is the relative motion between the rotating magnetic field and the rotor conductors. So rotor conductor will try to catch up the rotating magnetic field to reduce the speed difference. But so it will try to attain the synchronous speed, but it can never attain the synchronous speed, because at synchronous speed, what will happen? The speed of the rotating magnetic field and the rotor conductor will be equal. So there is no relative speed. So the rotor conductors will see constant flux. So there will be no change in flux with time. So there will be no EMF induced. So basically, the rotor will rotate at a speed slightly less than the synchronous speed. We call is the induction speed, so that the sufficient current flowing and the sufficient power is fed to the rotor to supply the losses of the motor and to drive any load which is connected to the shaft. This is the basic principle of induction motor. So from next year, we will start with induction motor in details. Okay. So we'll have the next class on next Tuesday. Okay.